As we mentioned earlier this morning when we reviewed everything that we were going to be covering today, everybody kind of got excited. I saw the eyes perk up and the ears lilt out, and everybody kind of leaned in when I talked about ABC. Always be closing. Always be closing. It's a technique utilized by the top sales performers, and it doesn't matter if they're selling a product or a service. We just know that the top sales performers are always closing the sale. That's the process they're in at all times, and that's why they're in the top 3 or 4 or 5% of their profession. And what does that mean, always be closing? Because we usually think about sales in closing the sale, closing the sale, closing the sale. But how much easier it would be if you just used teeny pieces of closing along the way. When you got to the end of the sale was already closed for you. Wouldn't that be nice? Do you think it might improve your sales process and your sales closing rate if you had a process to go through where you were testing the model and always closing in little bite-sized pieces throughout the product presentation, demonstration, whether it's a product or a service? Do you think that might improve your sales? Do you think if you improved your sales that your paycheck might actually increase? Could I get a yes on that? Absolutely. And if you've noticed what I've been doing for the last few seconds, I've ABC'd you right in front of you. Now, we're going to go in a lot more detail on that in a few minutes when we break into some small groups and really work on hone this skill down. But every time you affirmed what I was saying, every time you agreed with the premise that I was talking about here today, every time you concurred with what I was saying, you were pre-closing yourself in little small bite-sized pieces. And that's really one of the great keys to successful salespeople. So we're going to really talk about that and hone in on that now. So let's get ready and do our small breakout groups on ABC. And I'm going to be walking around and working with every single table today because this is one of the primary things that you came here today for. And I want everybody to leave today with this skill set absolutely mastered.